KHTS or its ownership.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care, Santa Clarita Hearing Center, and Traditions Healthcare Hospice. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Jean Dorio.
On your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our in-studio guest this morning is the one and only, woohoo, Dr. Thomas Polucki, who is a local chiropractor and much more.
I'll try to live up to that
Much
introduction. So it's great to be back.
Yes.
In advance,
welcome.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Dr. Dorio.
Thank you.
I'm
thank
sorry.
you. And
I'm sorry.
both
I
of you
can't.
Also, as well as Shane.
I can't get you the eggnog that is kind of a tradition
Oh,
here. I'm disappointed that I
yeah,
haven't seen
know.
you. The big thing is that company went out of business last year, and they
Yes, I know.
had to restructure and came back. But here's the rub: that it now comes in plastic bottles.
Yeah.
Those classic thick milk glass bottles that used to be iconic, they're gone.
Mine's half
and they're
gone already.
Oh, good. The eggnog's the same though. They just had to lose
but
the glass.
it's thick also, and a lot of times I had to dilute it.
Right.
I mean, it was
What
no
did you
thick,
dilute it
Yeah,
with?
there you go.
Milk. No.
Oh,
I don't drink alcohol, but milk, and it went down easier too. So thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so we got a possibly a hotly controversial show here today, but I know that's what you love most, right, Dr. Dorio?
Oh, all the time.
So not too long ago, less than a month ago, something came out called the Great Barrington Declaration. This is not my personal opinion. However, I feel that it's time somebody spoke up about what is going on with this COVID virus as far as what is being portrayed in the media, what is being mandated by policymakers who go out and blatantly disrespect their own laws that they pass. I'm not going to get into politics here, but it is pretty hypocritical when the people who make the laws don't follow them themselves and have been caught numerous times doing so.
Absolutely, and there are
Sure.
many of them.
So regardless of what side of the aisle on, I'm hated. You may be on. I'm hated by both sides because I'm a staunch moderate. So I actually have facts and numbers and reason on my side, so I have enemies on both sides. I'm equally offensive to the wings, shall we say, the far and
the
right
edge.
and left. I would like to get right into this what initially began as a study that was hotly controversial and then duplicated 82 times and around the world and brought together some of the most respected epidemiologists from various backgrounds, various political backgrounds, various socioeconomic backgrounds, and they all came to a consensus. This is very, very much in opposition of what is being sold in the media right now, what is being sold to the population as law and policy and policy right now, because nothing's law yet, but that may change soon. So there is obviously going to be some controversy about it. I am not holding myself out to be an epidemiologist. I am not a Facebook pundit on any of these issues. I just am privy to some information that you will not get on any form of media. And there's very little question about these numbers. I'm sure people are going to argue about these numbers, but these are not just flippant controversial people who are coming together and starting to very vigorously argue that we are handling this very wrong. Initially, the one of the main researchers is right here at our Stanford, and he came out very early on and was almost ostracized with his findings, but the same study has been duplicated time and time again, 82 times as of present, showing that the real numbers are not what's reflected. Now, that all being said, the at-risk group, this audience, the senior audience, over 70, the restrictions should apply to. This is a real problem. This is really dangerous for the over 70 group. It has a 4% fatality for the over 70 group.
What about the over 80 group?
Uh,
Is that worse?
that's all in the same category. It's
Okay.
4%. Once you reach over 70, it's 4% fatal for those people who, and here's the rub, have pre-existing conditions, and we know who the risk groups are. And that's one of the problems with what's being put out there in the media. It's that, oh, well, everybody's at risk. Protect the at risk, but everybody needs to follow these recommendations. And that is going to turn out to be, I believe history will show this to be a historical blunder in how we handled this epidemic. Much smarter people than I are saying this. This is not my personal opinion. I just am relaying facts that you're not getting. So originally, the numbers got very heavily skewed because what they were looking at when they started reporting on how bad this thing was people who showed up at the hospital who were already sick and then died from it. So they were saying that this is the population, this is the statistical average, and it came out to be an epidemic proportion. It came out to be this is 5% fatal. And so the media ran with that, and the policymakers, the laws have been structured around those numbers. But since then, the studies have shown that most people who are seropositive, who actually have exposure to this, have little, if any, symptoms whatsoever. And the numbers keep increasing in that direction as far as this is not nearly as dangerous for the general population as it has been led to believe. Again, that being said, the over 70 group, these risks are very real. So initially, we saw that this was looking like a 5% fatality rate. But once the seroprevalence tests came through, which are basically the way it's tested now, is there any evidence that there has been any exposure to this particular strain of coronavirus? The numbers are down to 0.2%. This is
Well, I haven't heard that
in the general
number,
population. In the general,
Yeah, I
again,
haven't
this
heard
isn't
that
my
low
number. I'm not making this up. This is from
Yeah.
the Greater Barrington Declaration. So the seroprevalence rate is down to 0.2% in the general population. Now, over 70 with comorbidity, that number is much higher. In heavily densely populated areas like New York City and certain other areas, that number even gets a little higher. But one of the other issues is initially, this was treated very aggressively when people came in and they had respiratory distress. They were put on ventilators, and for a very long time, that was the buzzword. We don't have enough ventilators. We're not going to be able to handle this. We need to slow the spread. And actually, what they're seeing is that the ventilators could increase the risk of mortality. The forcing air into these people's lungs could be problematic.
Has changed with time as I sit with my colleagues at meetings on the East Coast mostly, but throughout the United States, people who are actually on the front line treating patients. They know that right in the beginning, they were telling me that how they were taught to treat people with pneumonia had changed, and for like 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months, even now, it is changing because of the data that we get in. At that point, I would say in about March, April, and May, my colleagues on the East Coast were fully aware that they had to get help. And I think I've mentioned on the show that they have looked at and gotten and collaborated with doctors from Italy and Wuhan, China, on how to treat patients. So you're right. The putting people on a ventilator, we've been slower to do that. And there's something called proning where we flip them. You've heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been doing that as well. Plus, our treatments with the president receiving a monoclonal antibody, remdesivir, dexamethasone. And we're right now in the process of trying to figure out the timing of these, because it seems like timing of getting these treatments into a patient make a difference also. So we're in a huge learning curve relative to this virus. It is new. It's novel coronavirus. So it is new to us, and of course we don't know the variables that are out there with the predisposition, who with the diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and things like that could be adding to their susceptibility. So this is all a part of the learning curve, and I am looking at the article, the Great Barrington Declaration, and it's very long, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've looked at the names, and I don't know. I've looked. There's a lot of co-signers as well, and I know people at Stanford. I know people back east. I don't see any of them, any people that I know. Not that I know everybody, but I don't see a lot of people that I know. And of course, I would want to know: are these clinicians? Are these individuals who actually are not just ivory tower people, but are practicing medicine? So you're right. I mean, has it been over-exaggerated? Well, I think the statistical numbers, when you say, and I've heard 1% mortality, fatality now, but if you look at 320 million people in the United States, that's 3 million people dying. So I think that's where the scruff is in all this, that we're worried about those numbers, and then affecting our hospital, Henry Mayo, Holy Cross, that we'll be dealing with too many patients with COVID and not be able to treat them adequately, one. And secondly, all those who have other illness, we won't be able to treat them either. And that's where our statistical fears are right now, that will overwhelm what we've got, because we got plenty of ventilators and we're using less of them. But I think we're in a flux right now that is gonna, when we look back on it, you're right. We will have made mistakes. There's no doubt about it. The media will have played a role, and some of it is definitely negative. But the awareness of having to take care of this problem in a structural, logical, educated, evidence-based way is really important. And have we gone in that direction? I think we're heading in that direction, although it be slow compared to Asian countries. Their economy is coming up with how they did it, and we should reflect and look at what they've done and see if there's other people who have analyzed the situation, so that we will improve what we do in real time, as opposed to just coming out with declarations and saying, we're wrong, let's figure out in real time what we need to do. And my colleagues, thankfully, here in California and across the nation, those heroes that are out there facing this every day are also trying to take a step back and improve the quality of treatment that we now have. Not an easy task, as both of you know, and our audience knows, but it's not an easy task, but it is, I believe, coming along with the vaccine, and it won't eliminate it, but it will make a big difference. Yeah, you're right.
Jean?
You're right. I'm opinionated, Thomas.
Hey, we need to take a break.
Oh, wow.
I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.
Celebrate Thanksgiving with the best food in town. Salt Creek Grill has amazing traditional Thanksgiving dinners available for takeout. For a change of pace, try the prime rib dinner, also available for Thanksgiving pickup. Beer and wine is also available. Located in the Valencia Town Center Mall, next to Regal Cinema. Support Salt Creek owner Greg Amsler and his team by reserving your Thanksgiving dinner today. Call 222-9999 or log on to saltcreekgrill.com.
Your hometown station.
It can happen at any time. Breaking news in the Santa Clarita Valley. KHTS has you covered. Brush fires, emergency freeway closures, police activity. If it's happening in the SEV, we'll let you know about it with our breaking news coverage. Keep a channel preset to your hometown station, KHTS.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Comfort Keepers provides your loved one with loving in-home care.
Miles McNamara, certified senior advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in-home care.
Our caregivers can help you in your own home, enhancing independence, creating safety and comfort. Our Comfort Keepers provide companionship, meal preparation, medication reminders, assistance with personal care, and even transportation to doctor's appointments. If someone you love can use a helping hand at home, visit comfortkeepers.com.
Or call 287-4200.
This is Jill from the Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to our 4,655 families in the SCV community. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Centerpoint Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website at santaclaritagrocery.org or our Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
Your hometown station.
It's no secret that KHTS has the best midday talk show lineup around. If you've missed any of your favorites, no problem. KHTS has you covered. Podcasts for all the midday shows can be found right on our website, hometownstation.com. Whether you missed a show from 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years ago, and you want to catch up, we got you covered. They're all right there. Plus extra podcasts too. That's hometownstation.com. hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
There are many memorable restaurants in Santa Clarita, but 3 words stand out from the crowd. Mom can cook.
Mamá puede cocinar.
Mom can cook the best Thai food on this side of the planet.
Mama fait la cuisine.
No matter what language you use, Mom Can Cook says it all. Thai food at its finest, all your favorite dishes and Mom's very own original specialties. Experience it on Soledad by the Canyon Country Post Office.
Mama 요리가 좋으세요?
Mom Can Cook.
I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank.
I'm here today to let you know that Mission Valley Bank has relocated our Center Point branch office. The new facility is 26701 McBean Parkway, directly across the street from the town center. We're very excited about this new, modern, and updated branch facility that we think is better situated to serve our growing number of small business clients. On behalf of myself and the entire Mission Valley Bank team, we're wishing you a very happy holiday season.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're speaking with Dr. Thomas Polucki, a local chiropractor, and much more. And during all this past conversation, a word came up that I didn't understand. I think it was pronin or cronin. Pronin.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure either. Where did it come up? In what context?
Well, I think you
Barb?
were talking about it. You were talking about something.
Don't know,
okay.
but
Anyway.
I'd like to try to finish up this one thought so that we can move forward, if that is even possible on this subject. The issues at stake are very real to this audience. It is the numbers that are being reported are relevant to this audience. This is a dangerous bug for the over 70 crowd. And when I say dangerous, that's somewhere between 3 and 5%. Let's just take 4 as an average. Obviously, there are other factors involved, your general health, any kind of pre-existing conditions, the where and how you live is going to be a huge factor. But what we're finding is that the restrictions that are being placed on everybody, on the general population, can have much more devastating effects than this virus has any potential of causing the general population. And that's what I'd like to talk about, because so often when anybody ever talks in these terms, they're immediately branded or even canceled on social media as being heartless and just a money concern. No, this is not just a money concern. This is a real health risk for a much larger percentage of the population than, let's say, even the 4 or 5%, if that were a general population number, and it's not. It's only a specific group, which just happens to be this audience, that 4% applies to. However, the entire population is affected by the way this thing is being handled, by the lockdowns, by the business shutdowns. The UN, again, not some fly-by-night organization, has stated that 130 million people will starve due to economic ramifications of these global lockdowns. The CDC our own CDC did a study back in July and found that 1 in 4 18 to 24 children 18 to 24 years old has seriously considered suicide since this COVID pandemic lockdown event has started. Herd immunity, the buzzword, which is what's the promise of the cure, partially due to a vaccine, which I have a differing opinion about it than Dr. Dorio as how effective this is going to be, how relevant this is going to be in the main thing, but it is part of the whole concept of herd immunity. Getting a certain group of the population to a certain level of exposure with a vaccine that's done artificially, and there is some controversy over that. However, let's just stick with the herd immunity concept, where after a certain percentage of the population has been exposed to this, it no longer has its lethality for everybody. That's the general concept behind herd immunity. Herd immunity is actually hindered by these lockdown regulations. It's not improved. And again, these aren't I am not an epidemiologist. These are not my opinions. This is people who do this for a living, researchers, thousands, tens of thousands of researchers that are not in line and not in lockstep with what is being portrayed in the media as this is the only way out of this. Whereas other people around the world, and Dr. Dorio was talking about this during the break, have pretty much returned to normal. And where there is a flare up, where there is an outbreak, they immediately deal with that. But with precision, they take a small group and isolate an infected group and deal with it instead of saying, well, okay, nobody in LA is going to work tomorrow or for the next 3 weeks. Nobody in LA is going to restaurant for the next 3 weeks. We were promised that 7 months ago, and it was a lot more than 3 weeks. And now they're starting to do this again.
I know, because I was supposed to go with a group to Salt Creek Grill for dinner tomorrow.
Yeah, no, not going to happen.
No, it's not.
So
and I talked with Greg, and he told me, he said, as of Wednesday night at 10 o'clock,
yep,
no more outdoor dining, only pickup or delivery.
So I don't have all the answers. I don't have any answers. This is not my field. I deal with trying to keep my patients as healthy as possible, and I am grateful for that privilege. However, I do have personal opinion about the way that this is affecting so many people, so devastatingly affecting so many people that were never at risk for COVID in the first place. And this is the opinion that is being suppressed from day one. This does not get any media coverage out at all. And I'm taking this risk of voicing a dissenting opinion, but it's not my personal opinion. This is how I believe the majority of people feel, but are afraid to talk about it, and that fear is compounded by the constant guilting and the constant fear campaign that the media has presented, that if you talk in any other terms than what we're telling you to be afraid of, you're heartless. You don't care. You don't care
right.
for the at-risk group. And that is absurd, because they were the same people who recommended that COVID infected people be put into nursing homes when this first broke out. That is the biggest hypocrisy I've ever heard of. And I think people should be held accountable for that.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And it's interesting because I am at the high risk level because of my age, and I have a compromised immune system. I have for many years. But I beat cancer when I was 75. I mean, not very many people can do that. But I've tried to stay in good health, exercise, eat properly, take care of myself, see a doctor when something is wrong, and have the situation stopped.
And that's one other point. The fear campaign that has been running nonstop for the past 7 months has prevented people from seeking regular medical attention.
And mental health.
Mental health,
absolutely,
medical health are all creating a new at-risk group that was never at risk for COVID. And I believe the numbers and history will prove this to be a horrible misjudgment on how to handle this.
I agree completely.
I get that nobody's ever done this before. We're making this up as we go along. However, we need to be a little bit more flexible with this. When we see that, hey, this lockdown is having some really negative effects, maybe we should modify it. Maybe we should take a look at what the numbers are actually presenting. Is it really overrunning the hospitals the way that we were told that it was going to? Is it really Are people dropping dead in the streets from this thing? Is it really going to be this 5% pandemic that we were promised from day one? Are hundreds of millions of people going to be affected? Or, well, maybe we need a more targeted approach. Maybe here's a radical concept. Let the low risk people go about their lives and protect the at-risk group and treat the sick group compassionately.
But you don't always know who's sick and is a carrier and who's not. And I don't agree that, our city council has had discussion on the ramifications and problems associated with the shutdown. And I think most of them agree that, this is harsh and this is difficult, and they have voiced that opinion. It is out there. The Board of Supervisors yesterday, and our supervisor said and voted against closing down. And it was 3-2. It was very close, but there was discussion. And I think that's important that we have this discussion about how to handle it, because I think we're all right in this, that we don't know what we're doing. And some of it is difficult and having tremendous impact on our society, psychologically, financially, emotionally, medically, all of that. We're having impact on what we're trying to do to help this situation out. Who knows what is right? And yes, we'll be able to retrospectively look back and say, hey, this was wrong. And most of us will probably at that point say, yeah, it was bad and it was wrong. But I believe we are having legitimate discussion and trying to weigh the risks and the benefits of what we are doing. And is it right? I don't know the answer. I just know, as I mentioned, if it's 0.2%, that's great, of the population dying from this. But I think it's higher than that. And if we're talking about 4% of those who might be older, like Barbara and I, and susceptible, 4% of 320 million, that's 12 million older adults who might die from this. And my biggest fear is that, there's transparency. Henry Mayo has been transparent. Holy Cross has been transparent in terms of their numbers. And they are definitely filling up. We're facing a hospital that might not have room for patients who are sick with something else, who need some kind of mastectomy for their cancer and can't get it because it's considered elective. These are the things that I fear that could happen, that we don't have the ability to care for our regular patients, let alone our COVID patients. So overwhelming of our healthcare system, you have to anticipate that. You don't want it to be all of a sudden you're saying, I can't go to Henry Mayo and I can't go to Holy Cross and I have to go out to Mojave to get my medical care. We don't want that to happen. So that's why we look at it and say preventively, we have to do something about it. Is it wrong? Yeah, it could be wrong. I agree with that. But I think we're having valid discussion, which is hearing everybody's voice. And I think we heard our city council last night. We heard the Board of Supervisors yesterday morning. I think we're having that discussion, and everybody should put their stories in. I think that's important for us to move forward and correct the problems that might exist that could be making us take a step back as opposed to moving forward.
Well, Dr. Dorio, many of our seniors are shut in anyway.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. And
Yep.
along with that is loneliness and depression. And depression,
isolation, and suicide.
Depression is very, very, very bad. It really is. I know because
Sure.
I've been depressed myself. I know what it is to be depressed, and it's a very uncomfortable place to be. And
But let me tell you this, Barb. Let me tell you this without interrupting you too much. Look at our senior center, Barb, what they're doing. I mean, they have now they're feeding, they're preparing, they've increased their preparation of meals 300%.
I know.
They're feeding not only Santa Clarita, they're feeding the Antelope Valley. They're also engaged in activities like bingo in the parking lot. We have a big parking lot now. So we have bingo, comedy shows, concerts. We are doing things, movies. We are doing things that are trying to bring them out and adapt to the situation since they are susceptible. And tomorrow we'll be having Thanksgiving for them. Yes, they have to drive in, but we're doing things. It's unfortunate. I know our senior center leads the way in how to take care of seniors and bringing them out of depression and isolation. We are leading the way. We should be proud of that. And we're trying to spread what we are doing and collaborate with other senior centers around LA County to do the same thing. So recognition of that, not just the worry and the fears, but also the loneliness and depression and isolation and increasing suicide factors is definitely, it's recognized, it's known, and it's there. And we are trying our best, and our senior center is playing a huge role. Our city council is talking about it. I mean, I don't think, people are just, sitting on their hands and not doing anything. We are doing some great things in this valley, and we all should be proud of it. But we will look back, Barb and Thomas, in the future and say, look what we did and how we did it. And we will be proud of what we have done, because we are doing things that others haven't done, and they will emulate what we are doing. And I'm thankful for that.
Yes, I agree with you, Dr. Dorio. And right now we need to take another break, okay? I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.
Your business sign is essential to getting customers to your location. Feathers can help you get your business noticed. Feathers, now in a new larger space with plenty of parking. They walk you through each phase of your project with special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will provide you a sign that you can be proud of. Your sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Visit Feathers online at feathersigns.com or go to Feathers' brand new bigger location at 26017 Huntington Drive off Rye Canyon or call 298-9442.
Aloha, friends. Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha.
And now for your convenience, a second Honu location at 23502 Lyons Avenue between Peachland and Apple.
This holiday music is brought to you by Providence Holy Cross Medical Center, your community health partner. To learn more about their award-winning care, call 1-888-HEALING or visit online at providence.org/holycross.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
Celebrate Thanksgiving with the best food in town. Salt Creek Grill has amazing traditional Thanksgiving dinners available for takeout. For a change of pace, try the prime rib dinner, also available for Thanksgiving pickup. Beer and wine is also available. Located in the Valencia Town Center Mall, next to Regal Cinema. Support Salt Creek owner Greg Amsler and his team by reserving your Thanksgiving dinner today. Call 222-9999 or log on to saltcreekgrill.com.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host Dr. Jean Dorio on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And our guest is Dr. Thomas Polucki, and I see some interesting bottles of stuff in front of you. Do you want to talk about them?
Yeah, this is where I was hoping this show was eventually going to go. You got caught up in some conversation about some hotly contested things involving the situation, this unprecedented, as they like to say, situation that we all find ourselves in, and is it being handled appropriately or not? Politics aside, I think we are going to find out in history will show that this thing was horribly mismanaged. We can see it in real time as far as how we are way lagging behind just about every other nation that has been exposed to this. And it has very little to do with waiting for the holy grail of the vaccine that may or may not be out anytime soon. Herd immunity is herd immunity with or without artificial help. And the lockdown procedures, the way that they're being imposed, don't seem to be promoting herd immunity. They seem to be hindering it. This, again, I'm not an epidemiologist. This is the opinion of a large group of epidemiologists that is not being heard, that has no platform, that is, I don't want to say being censored, but we saw what happened when people spoke out about this early on, and it has never let up. There is only one story being told in the media, and it is that, everything goes back to normal once there's a vaccine. Well, that's what they're saying. That's what they have been saying from day one, and that is not the case.
No, it's not the case.
Yeah. If you say anything other than, well, you're heartless, you're not protecting the old, and these are the same people who recommended putting COVID-infected people into nursing homes at the early onset of this, which I have no idea what that was about. Now, that all being said, everybody who has survived this so far has done so without a vaccine. Some did not survive the treatments, and the people in other countries have done as well, if not better than us, using solely very conservative, very natural approaches, things like vitamin D, things like melatonin, things like mushroom extracts. In the early stages, most of Asia was just using replenishment, like Dr. Dorio's favorite, Gatorade. Just giving their patients Gatorade. Gatorade might be the cure for COVID. I think you might be onto something there, Dr. Dorio. Because it is given them, I mean, their population in some areas is much larger than the entire American population, and they're pretty much on the other side of this thing. And we're not. Mm-hmm. We're not. So there's something to be gained by looking at maybe an alternative approach to this, not every time there's an increase in numbers, we go back to what didn't really work the first time. I think that is, by some definitions, insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different outcome. We have seen how to handle this. Other people are already have success with this, and we're not. We are not an example of how to get things done in this country, unfortunately. Yeah. That is a scary, scary statement, but the numbers don't lie. Many other people are doing a better job at this, and the idea that everything's going to go back to normal with a vaccine is, I believe, just part of that really bad science narrative that is out there right now. So, what have they done? Things like vitamin D, known antiviral properties. I'm not saying this is a COVID cure. I'm saying forget about COVID for a second. We're going into cold and flu season, and people are getting less natural vitamin D. So this can't hurt. It's a good idea. And all of these things are available on this website that I have for people who can see in the studio. It's getbetterxshop.com. Vitamin D, not all vitamin D is the same. You take it in a pill form, you're going to have some absorption in the gut, but vitamin D is made to be absorbed through the skin, through the mucosal lining, through readily available exchange. I mean, we make vitamin D in our skin. It's absorbed in our skin. So something that's closer to that is going to have it. That's why ours is a liquid and sublingual. The mushroom complex, 7 documented antiviral complexes to enhance the immune system. And surprising, but more and more research is coming out that melatonin has a very strong immunomodulating, which means it's good for immune system effect with COVID patients. And all of these
website again?
Yeah, the website is GetBetterX, so it's GetBetterX shop shop.com. GetBetterXshop.com.
The other thing I would like to say also is I have used CBD oil. I take 2 droppers full every single morning. And I strongly believe that that has helped me maintain my health.
At Oakmont of Valencia, Oakmont's brand new community in Santa Clarita. At Oakmont of Valencia, residents will enjoy 5-star amenities, including state-of-the-art movie theaters, spacious custom-built apartment homes, and sweeping views.